153 News Radio 700 WLW, the average American in for the great American on this Wednesday. Glad you are with us, because without you, I would be just someone sitting in a room with a microphone babbling to himself. And I can do that at home. This is the time of the year when a lot of us decide we're going to donate to charities. Number of reasons: tax deductions, end of the year coming up, a lot of reasons. We believe in the charity. A lot of reasons. We feel that charity does the good work. A lot of reasons why we decide to contribute to charities at this time of the year, but the tax laws are changing. And even though we have a lot more disposable income this year versus last year, a lot of us simply aren't donating. Get this, United Way, right? United Way, number one charity in terms of dollars that are taken in. But the United Way says over the 10-year period prior to 2017, so this would be from 2007 to 2017, it's noticed a decline in contributions of almost 30%. Almost 30%. It took in $3.3 billion worldwide in 2017. But that's down 30% over a span of 10 years. So why is this happening? And is it attributable to maybe Donald Trump's tax cuts and the restructuring of the tax codes? Let's bring in somebody who understands the ins and outs of this. This is Tyler Talman standing by on the AcuteHearingCenters.com hotline. And Tyler, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, great to be on the show, Ken. Thanks for having me.
So a lot of people think goes straight back to Donald Trump and his tax cuts in 2017. I think it's a little more in depth than that, but I guess tax restructuring would be as good a phrase to use here. Did it really give that much of a hit to charitable giving? Did it make it more difficult for people to give and deduct less?
It's a great question, and I think right now there's a lot of, in my opinion, inconsistent reporting on charitable giving. Just as a matter of fact, if you look at 2019 right now, we're actually showing numbers that would say that charitable giving has actually increased from $410 billion to $427 billion. So what I think this really comes down to is it's more of a topic of conversation focused on individuals and their giving versus corporations, because the numbers would say that overall corporate giving is actually up, and foundation giving is also up. So it really is creating a wash. It's not creating an overall increase in the numbers that are being reported. So, to answer your question in regards to the tax code that Trump put in with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2019, I think it's had an impact in some ways with charitable giving, but I don't think it's maybe quite as big a deal as everybody's making it out to be.
Well, so I guess it's, as you're right, I think it depends on the individual and what his or her needs are. I'm just wondering, have you noticed there are more, it's more specific to certain charitable organizations? For example, the United Way, is it up or down? Or the American Cancer Society, is it up or down? Or is it just across the board it's that way?
Well, the United Way is an organization, a big multinational organization that's reporting that their overall individual giving is down. And I think that leads us into a conversation really more about the generational difference that's in play and how these multinational organizations are going to have to combat that. I mean, if you look at the millennials and Gen Xers and their approach to charitable giving, it's just different. It's different than the boomers. Their approach to life is different, and it doesn't mean that they're not charitable. It just simply means that the way that they look at life and charitable giving is just simply different. And I think one of the pieces of it, when you look at the next generation, is that they really want to be more hands-on. They want to work inclusively with others, and they're less interested in having their name on a statue because they were the biggest donor. And I think that's one of the big cultural pieces that's in play. And then beyond that, one of the biggest issues that nobody wants to talk about, it seems like, is the student loan debt that the younger generation is carrying when they get out of school. I mean, we've got 44.7 million student loan borrowers in the United States right now. That makes up $1.5 trillion of debt, which, if you look at that in comparison to our national debt, that means that student loan debt is actually actually making up 10% of our total national debt. So that's incredibly staggering, and the fact that 70% of all of this younger generation have got to take out some form of a loan to go to school, frankly, Ken, I don't really blame them for not being interested potentially early on when they're trying to set out to write big checks to organizations. So I think this is more about a cultural difference that's in play. And when you look at this in comparison to a United Way, I mean, let's think about this. Why would a younger generation want to write a check to a larger multinational organization for them to turn around and cut a check to other organizations? I mean, you look at social media for the younger generation and all the crowdfunding that's going on out there. You know, these kids wake up in their bed in their pajamas, and they can easily just write a check directly to the foundation that they want to. Why do they need to, funnel that through a larger multinational organization?
Well, and maybe that's the way it's all going anyway, and they're just they're just the forefront of it. Off topic here, but you raised it, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Student loan debt is enormous, and there's no easy answer. If there was, it wouldn't exist. I'm just wondering on your thoughts, because it seems to me if you've got to take out an inordinate amount of money just to better yourself from an educational standpoint, and you've got to come out of the hole for so many years just to pay that student debt off, if indeed you pay it off. So not everybody does. Some just walk away or whatever it may be. Where's the answer there? Because I don't think the current model works. It just hasn't worked for a long time. You're a guy that understands dollars and cents. Where did we go wrong, and how can we fix that?
A couple of thoughts come to mind. First of all, I think that the younger generation and kids now need to get greater clarity on what it is that they really want to do with their life. I think it's absolutely crazy for a lot of kids to go out and incur six figures worth of student debt for certain professions. So I think one of the things is really getting clarity on what it is that you want to achieve, mitigate some of the costs by potentially taking advantage of local programs, local community colleges. So I think that's one piece of it. I think the other piece is, we look at the large corporations out there, and they are the tail that wags the dog. They are driving the marketplace. And I think we've got to do a better job, and our institutions have got to do a better job partnering with these corporations and create a better opportunity for the bigger companies to help pay for some of this education, while in turn really training the next generation for their own growth. So I think there's a lot of ways to look at it, but I think we've got to do a better job of, first, clarity on what it is that you really want to do, that you want to achieve. And number two, I think our bigger blue chip companies out there have got to do a better job of, paying for some of this education and helping these kids along.
Tyler Talman, founder and president, Carrington Group. Tyler, how do people find you? Because you sound like you know what you're talking about, and we like people like that on this radio station.
Well, thanks, Ken. You can find me on our website at www.carringtonfo.com. FO stands for Family Office. And you can learn everything you want to learn about us there. We also host a weekly podcast called Legends in Leadership. And you can also locate that on our website through YouTube, iTunes, and all things alike.
CarringtonFO.com. Tyler Talman, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Don't be fooled either. The earning power of the younger group, not as great. And maybe because of that, donations are down. So be it. 201, Ken Brew for Bill Cunningham, 700 WLW.